let's talk, Frank, about some of the stuff that we didn't get to in the first hour. And the one I want to talk about the most is the Jackson Merrill effect here and what Jackson Merrill has done to lock in to being part of the organization and being a leader on this team. Now, Dennis Lin wrote a great piece on Jackson Merrill, and it gives us some insight on him as a San Diego Padre with the World Baseball Classic, with everything else. Remember I said with some of the open spots, I was surprised that Jackson Merrill wasn't going to participate in the WBC for Team USA. I thought for sure, well, we got an answer with that in this interview or this piece by Dennis Lin about the WBC. The thing with Jackson Merrill is, that guy's super locked in. But Dennis Lin asked Craig Stammen about the first impression he got from Jackson Merrill, and it was described as a teenager in charge. Summer of 2022 in Lake Elsinore, Craig Stammen, who is rehabbing at age 38, joined A-ball fielding drills up in Lake Elsinore. And a teenage shortstop stood out to him in Jackson Merrill. His takeaway was Merrill was running the field. Teammates looked to him. He was the best player, but also the best teammate, natural command presence. And even then, leadership wasn't forced. It was instinctive. This wasn't projection. It was recognition. And when it comes to leadership, anybody can lead. You don't have to be a good player to lead. Anybody can be a leader. But it's about taking responsibility for the results of your team. And that's something that Jackson Merrill definitely does. Anybody can take responsibility for the actions and leading in the right way and leading by example. And that's what Jackson Merrill is and what he's always been. You look back at what could have been watching this young player in Southern California emerge on stage. He could have been doing it in Angels uniform, Frank. Could have been doing it in Angels uniform. Padres nearly traded Jackson Merrill and a potential blockbuster for Shohei Ohtani at the deadline before Artie Moreno pulled him off the market. I mean, thank you, Artie. Is that a situation in which the Padres, even though they got Ohtani, would they have been able to sign Ohtani? Is that a different world that we live in where Ohtani's a Padre and Jackson Merrill's an Angel? I don't know if that's the case. But that deal got taken off. I mean, there could be a situation, Frank, you could be living in a world where Ohtani's still a Dodger after playing for the Padres for a half a season or a season and a half, whatever it is, and Jackson Merrill's in Anaheim right now. Thank God Artie Moreno's, doesn't think the fans up there in Anaheim want to win. Their fifth priority. We're going to talk about that later on. Angels fans, is winning your fifth priority? As a fan, like when you want your favorite team, what do you want your favorite team? What's the number one priority for your favorite team? Apparently, it's not winning, according to Artie Moreno, but I digress there. Padres nearly included Merrill in a potential blockbuster for Shohei Ohtani before Artie Moreno pulled him off the market. Instead, they dealt a similar prospect-heavy package, minus Jackson Merrill for Juan Soto, and 3 years later, Soto is gone, Ohtani was never acquired, and Merrill is the long-term cornerstone with a 9-figure extension. Organizational pivot point, the Padres chose youth stability over superstar gamble, at least in this case. They ended up parting ways with CJ Abrams and kept Jackson Merrill. But now the WBC decision. With multiple Padres leaving for the World Baseball Classic. Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., both representing the Dominican Republic. Xander Bogaerts representing the Netherlands. Mason Miller representing Team USA. Jackson Merrill decided to stay. And that's not saying he's better than those guys in doing this and whatever. I mean, he had to make a tough decision. But his reasoning was he had injuries last year in 2025, hamstring, concussion, ankle. His physical preparation for the season matters to him. His leadership presence matters, and the window to win matters for Jackson Merrill. His quote was, "We're trying to win the World Series." He understands that the WBC is prestigious, but timing matters. His responsibility is here. He's thinking long-term franchise impact at 22. That is a mature individual right there. I mean, that is a guy that you want in this clubhouse. That is a guy you want leading this team in the future. That is a guy that you signed to a long-term contract. That's a big reason why they did. Jackson Merrill could be playing for himself in a sense and going to the WBC and, checking things off of a impressive bucket list. But he's dialed in to being a San Diego Padre and leading this team and understanding the window and putting the Padres first. You don't see that anymore in kids his age. Hardly ever. Do you see that in college right now, Frank? Got anybody doing that at the college level? I mean, this kid is like just older than college now. Well, actually, this day and age, he probably still could be in college. Ain't nobody doing that in college. Very rarely. And they are a gem. A blessing. A breath of fresh air. That's what Jackson Merrill is. He is a breath of fresh air. He is a guy that puts the organization first, which he doesn't have to. He puts you fans first. He even signed a contract early where he still had opportunity to negotiate. He could have gone through arbitration. He could have waited to free agency like a lot of these players and made a hell of a lot more money than he is scheduled to make in the next 7-8 years. But you know what he said? It doesn't change my life. I got what is fair, and I'm here to win. That's a guy you build a franchise around. I mean, think about him thinking long-term franchise impact at just 22 years old. How can you not love Jackson Merrill? The 2026 window for the Padres. Machado's turning 34. Bogaerts will be 34 in October. Joe Musgrove is going to be 33. He's returning from Tommy John surgery. Nick Pivetta can opt out after the season. Potential labor stoppage in 2027. Franchise approaching a sale. This is not an open-ended window for the San Diego Padres. It's one that's tightening a little bit. Jackson Merrill, he's 22 years old. He's already an all-star. He's runner-up for Rookie of the Year in 2024. Under contract long-term. He's the bridge between the eras. And he understands that this is the best chance that the Padres have in this era of baseball, this era of the team, to win. And he's not going to sacrifice that to go play in the WBC. I applaud that. I really do. I'd love to see him in the WBC. I'd love to see him representing Team USA. But he leads by his work ethic. He's an action-first guy. He avoids over-talking. He observes the veterans first, but he's growing. He's hosting gatherings of his own. He's promoting team bonding. He's emulating Joe Musgrove's off-field leadership. And a couple of examples of that. He created a t-shirt poking fun at Gavin Sheets' outfield wall collision. Humor as a culture builder. And he gets the veteran endorsements. Gavin Sheets says that's who you build a franchise around. Did we not? I mean, we're on it. Joe Musgrove, leadership is about consistency and impact. Merrill has both. The next step, becoming more vocal and owning the room when needed. For every time that people say that the Padres window is closing, we mentioned that it's closing a little bit with this era of Xander and Manny. It gets open very quickly with a guy like Jackson Merrill, who this organization should never let leave because he's got to get another contract at the end of this deal. It's down the road. It's 9 years down the road. But anybody that's afraid about the future of the Padres, look to Jackson Merrill and understand that guy's taking over the clubhouse. That guy is taking over the franchise. That guy is becoming the new face of the Padres organization. He's not stepping on anybody's toes. He's not jumping in front of anybody. He's still waiting his turn, but he is slowly starting to lead this team at age 22 and lead it in the right direction and use the positive examples that were laid in front of him with San Diego and Joe Musgrove. And the Padres are in really good hands. Really good hands. In terms of the WBC and the impact that it has, I mean, Dennis Lin kind of lays out a little bit of what the problem was in 2023. It's a lesson learned, obviously. Multiple Padres left for the WBC in 2023, and the team had one of the most disappointing seasons in franchise history. No one really blames the WBC outright, but the emotional dip afterward was a real one. And Craig Stammen's main concern is the WBC players return from a mountaintop of exciting baseball, and they get to spring training. They get back to spring training, and it's a massive letdown. Energy drop off, very natural. So the solution, Pivetta not playing for Team Canada. He's locked in and staying with the Padres. Joe Musgrove not participating, obviously. I don't know if he got an invite or not, but he's representing the leadership here in San Diego as well. He stays. Gavin Sheets, veteran presence, he's staying. Jackson Merrill is that young player that turned down an opportunity to represent Team USA for the betterment of the Padres. Those 4 players must stabilize that emotional baseline for when players come back from the WBC and keep things going in camp. This is an article by Dennis Lin that I thought was great. It talks about the window urgency. It talks about the identity of the Padres. It talks about really succession in Jackson Merrill in the Fernando Tatis Jr. era that's going to take over once the Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts era passes. Merrill may be the youngest regular of the group, but he might also be the most important piece. Not just statistically, but from a leadership standpoint, emotionally, and what a franchise can really build around. I thought Dennis Lin did a great job with this article. And Frank, I look at a guy like Jackson Merrill. This is the guy that eventually is going to take over as the main face of this organization.
Yeah, he's the heir apparent right now. And the fact that you have your heir apparent locked down for as long as you do, I think is absolutely fantastic. And you can see it in the times that we've been able to go down in the clubhouse and spend the time looking and watching these guys. You can see that Merrill has that confidence that he can be a leader, that he knows what he can do. Might be a little too rigid at times, but he knows what he can do, and he knows that getting the best out of everyone else is also going to make him better as well. And he's not afraid to ask questions if he needs a tip, if he needs to learn something. He's not afraid to ask those questions either. So yes, Jackson Merrill is the heir apparent, and if that is the case, the Padres are going to be in very, very good hands.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about this all the time with the college players, and you get irritated with the college players and even some of the guys at the top when it comes to the Players Association and being, looking out for themselves. Jackson Merrill might be one of the most selfless players in professional sports right now. I mean, he really might be, and he's young and everything. I just, for his generation, which is, Gen Z, whatever it may be, for a kid from his generation to act so old school and take responsibility and take the leadership of this organization and to have pride in representing the Padres and have pride representing San Diego and to be loyal to this team and this organization, that's a breath of fresh air in this day and age when you see other players his age and older than him in the college level, just being a hired gun. We need more athletes like Jackson Merrill. We really do. It is so great. And when they signed him to the contract extension, it was so great to know that he's going to be part of this organization for a long time. That 9-year contract extension. It's still open for him to sign another one later because by the time it's done, I think he's going to be in his early 30s, right? Like 31 years old. He's not going to be done with baseball at 31 years old. You got to make sure that guy never represents another organization. That's obviously going to be the task of the new ownership at that point in time. And who knows? But Jackson Merrill, as Eric in the chat said, Jackson Merrill's the future of the Padres. And you see it with the decisions that he makes and putting the Padres organization